We'll be starting in less than a minute. All right, 7 o'clock. You guys ready?
Ready.
Would like to make a motion to open the May 2nd, 2024 New Paltz Town Board meeting.
Second, Julie.
All in favor?
Aye.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I have 2 items to add. I'd like to approve the consultant for the consolidation plan. And I would like to hire a recreation director tonight. Yes.
Okay. All in favor of the amended agenda?
Aye. Second. Kitty.
All in favor?
Aye.
Announcements, there will be a rabies clinic for dogs and cats held on Wednesday, May 15th from 4 to 5 p.m. at the Town Highway Garage, 52 Clearwater Road, New Paltz. Vaccinations for rabies are $15 each and will be administered by Dr. Lori Stein, traveling veterinarian. Heartworm medication is also available. Rabies certificates will be presented at the completion of the vaccination. These certificates are essential for licensing dogs where they reside as required by New York State law. The next is, it's not too late to order your No Mo May sign. Contact assistant at townofnewpaltz.org or place your order on the town website. There are a limited number of supplies. That's all I have for announcements.
Gabby O'Shea, who many of you may remember, was the victim of a horrendous bicycle accident 3 years ago, I believe, and has had a long road to recovery. And she will be offering Love Your Brain rides on the River to Ridge Trail every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. And she's inviting everybody who, no matter how skilled you are on a bicycle, she wants you to show up. So it's every Saturday morning at the River to Ridge parking lot. She's going to stop at the top of that first big steep hill to let you catch up. Hope to see you there.
This isn't actually an announcement. We did receive a very nice letter from a 4th grade teacher about a visit to the recycle center. I think we would just like to encourage other folks who have, youth groups or whatever. It's a great place to visit and they will learn a lot. And the recycle group, the facility there is staffed with people who really cared about reaching out to youth.
Yeah, it was a great letter. The kids really loved it.
I want to thank Mike, who was the person who they wrote the letter to, the 4th grade class, or at least the 4th grade teacher. And I spoke with him last year about this program, and it's really something that he's doing, with a lot of passion, and more people took advantage of it. I think that would be a great thing, like Amanda said.
Yeah, he's been doing it a couple of years. The kids really like it. It teaches them all about everything.
The science behind composting, right?
Yep.
It's part of
Can you
it.
recycle this? Can you recycle this?
And then the kids made art or sort of project with the garbage. You let them all take garbage. Wasn't that nice?
Now that's recycling.
Yeah, reuse.
Any else? If not, I'd like to open the floor for public input. If there is anyone online, or if you're online, raise your Zoom hand. If you're in person, you can come sign up, and then we try to keep the comments to 3 minutes, but we'll start with Joe Davis, who is online, raised his hand. So go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Hello, thank you so much, everybody. Yes, I'm Joe Davis. I am one of the candidates for the recreation director position. And I just wanted to say hello and that I'm still very much interested in being considered for the position. I interviewed with the board back on March 7th, if you want to look back at the interview. And I just wanted to let you all know that I've been following along with the meeting since then and staying in on wishing the best of luck to all the other candidates. And I know you're interviewing one tonight, but I just am very interested. I think I have a lot I could offer both with the state-of-the-art technology of mastering the scheduling, transparency, and having the schedule for the Field of Dreams and Community Center easily accessible online and broadcasted weekly on social media. And I just wanted to remind you all that throw my name in the hat again here tonight. And I hope you have a great rest of your meeting, as well as keeping the ping pong group in mind. And I do manage my own theater group with the community center that does free acting classes on Thursdays. I'd love to see more unique programming with the diverse community we have here in New Paltz, both at the community center and at the Field of Dreams. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Any public comments here? You have a public comment, you can stay at your seat, or you can come up and speak here if you'd like. It's up to you.
I think I signed up first.
Okay.
My name is Michelle Donna. Just share something. My name's Michelle Donna and I live at Brock Ferris Boulevard. I'm speaking against the proposed law that would allow tier 2 battery energy storage systems in residential neighborhoods. To be clear, I support tier 1 systems and the idea of renewable energy, just not at the high cost of jeopardizing our safety. For many years, we've been advocating for better zoning on our street, my street, Brock Ferris Boulevard. 6 years ago, we succeeded and the town realized that the 45-acre parcel at the end of Brock Ferris should be zoned residential or R1. We were motivated by a project that didn't fit with the character of our neighborhood. It clearly impacted the regulated wetlands that are a large part of that parcel. We spoke at town board, planning board, and ZBA meetings for over a year. Thanks to you and other board members, we were heard, and the parcel is now an R1 zone awaiting a developer to build houses, which we are desperately in need of in New Paltz. 4 years ago, in March of 2020, a rep from a battery company came to our homes with the idea of building a large battery energy storage system at the end of our street. In that same month, an engineer rep from Enviro Design Engineering Service came around. He gave us the entire plan for the Brock Ferris Boulevard Battery Energy Storage System project. Knowing the parcel is zoned R1, we were not too concerned, as the company is a for-profit business. And then COVID hit. Fast forward in 2023, there were surveyors at the property several times. Working from home, I saw their trucks and measuring tripods. They didn't really know who hired them, as they were a third party, but they assured me it was just a routine thing and nothing to worry about. 2 weeks ago, I found out a new law was being proposed to allow large battery storage systems in R1 neighborhoods. As I understand it, a tier 2 battery storage system must be placed very close to a substation. Central Hudson sits directly across Route 299 from at the end of my street. I don't have to be a genius to see that even though you're proposing a law for the entire town of New Paltz, that there's only one practical parcel where the system can go, the R1 parcel on my road. So you tell me, how did a for-profit business have the foresight 4 years ago to design a battery storage system, make plans over there dated 2020 that they gave to me, and suddenly now we have a proposed law supporting these storage systems in R1 zones? It feels like you're proposing a law for a specific project in a specific neighborhood, which I'm pretty sure is against the rules of zoning. Ironically, the Climate Smart Committee Task Force of New Paltz put together a presentation just last month promoting that we should get battery energy storage systems for renewable energy storage in our town. They proposed changes as well as new laws to allow these battery systems in R1 areas. They even mentioned waivers for site plan reviews, potentially for a corporation that stands to make hundreds of thousands of dollars by putting these battery energy systems in residential neighborhoods and wetlands. So this is a plan that they gave to me 4 years ago. Here's my house. Here's the battery station. Do you want to live near that? Look at this. Look at this. This is what they want to build at the end of my street. These things catch on fire. I'm tired of fighting for my road all the time on my road. I've been here, I've been to the planning board, I've been to the ZBA. Please, please, don't let this happen. And I will continue to come back here to try to advocate for my street and my kids. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Well, I just want to respond to that when that presentation was made by Climate Smart, before she was a board member, I think Amanda came up from the public and voiced much of your concern about putting them in R1 districts. So we hear you.
We try to keep the comments to 3 minutes. We're not gonna stop you, but try not to go too long. So if anyone has any comments, please.
Thank you. Neighbor of Michelle here. Good evening, my name is Doug Wessel. I live at 30 Brock Ferris Boulevard in our beloved town of New Paltz. As an engineer by education, having graduated from Stevens Institute of Technology in Hoboken and spent 16 years in my career in software engineering and systems architecture, I'm deeply embedded in both technology and my community. My family, including my wife Sarah and 3-year-old son Theodore, and I are committed to sustainable living, demonstrated by the solar panels on our home and our choice to drive an electric vehicle. We also are a steward of our land where we grow vegetables, compost, and raise chickens. This sustainable lifestyle, proximity to nature, and our like-minded community are some of the main reasons we chose New Paltz to raise our family. Today, I want to address the proposed ordinance permitting the battery energy storage system BESS in residential zones within the town of New Paltz. While I support the advancement of energy storage technology to help our state, our country, and the world to meet necessary targets to combat climate change, the proposal to include residential zoning for these systems is concerning for several reasons to me as a New Paltz resident. Number one is the safety. The inherent risks of these BESS systems, particularly in terms of fire safety, are not negligible. Lithium-ion batteries, while efficient, pose a significant fire hazard that can result in the emission of toxic substances after a thermal runaway reaction, a condition where increasing temperatures can cause additional battery cells to become unstable and ignite. With the quantity and density of batteries in a tier 2 BESS system, the risk and intensity of fire increases dramatically. In addition, the fire may spread from one battery container to another, growing in intensity in seconds. According to the Electric Power Research Institute Storage Safety Database, which I have an example of here, the number of BESS fire incidents globally has been rising, with a total of 85, 15 in 2022, and another 15 last year in 2023, 4 of which were in the state of New York, specifically in Suffolk County, Jefferson, and 2 in Orange County in Warwick last summer. The fire department, my second concern is fire department resources. As a result of the incidents and increased fire concerns, Governor Hochul put together a task force, interagency task force, late last year, consisting of the Homeland Security and Emergency Services, Office of Fire Prevention and Control, NYSERDA, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, Department of Public Service, and Department of State, with nation-leading BESS safety industry experts, and has since drafted a publication outlining 15 different recommendations, which I have printed here as well, including updates and additions to fire code, with recommendations of emergency response plans and regular fire department training. The additional strain this places on our fire department cannot be understated. It requires new training protocols, equipment, and potentially longer response times, all of which stretch our already limited resources. Third is the environmental impact. Furthermore, the Central Hudson substation, located across the border in Highland, and the need for the BESS system to be in close proximity to the substation raises serious environmental concerns, given the area is surrounded by our local wetlands. In the event of a fire, water is generally not recommended to put on lithium-ion batteries, because the water can actually be harmful in this context, because it can increase the risk of thermal runaway reaction. Water conducts electricity, which can lead to additional hazards such as electrical shocks. Therefore, the use of firefighting foam containing PFAS A persistent and harmful chemical, also known as a forever chemical, could have devastating effects on our local ecosystem and the humans who are exposed to it in their drinking water, which is now regulated by the EPA as of January this year, and our nearby wells and local vegetation grown on contaminated land. This data underscores the need for vigorous safety measures and robust community consultation before proceeding with installation in sensitive areas specifically zoned for residential usage. Other towns in New York, Brookhaven, Huntington, Islip, all located in densely packed Long Island, have taken precautionary measures in their zoning and their decommissioning procedures, which I have printed out here. Specifically, their laws around the zoning for each of those districts, each of those towns, I should say, in order to divert disaster for their communities, requiring them to be in industrial and or business districts only. The fourth is land use and community needs. Our town faces a pressing housing shortage, a challenge that requires thoughtful planning and prioritization of residential land use. Allocating valuable residential space to industrial technology installations such as these systems conflicts with our urgent need for housing and community development. In conclusion, while I stand behind the goals of renewable energy and technological advancement, the location and implementations of these systems must be approached with extreme caution and foresight. I urge the board to consider alternative zoning and locations that do not compromise residential safety or environmental integrity, and to involve the community in these critical decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So. Any more
So
comments?
will you send that to our assistant at town and we'll get that into the record?
Sure.
Thank you.
If we could, please keep it at 3 minutes. We've had 2 comments and we're at 16 minutes so far.
Oh, just before I begin my comments, I want to thank you for your years of service, Neil. You've always had an open door policy, and I'm really sorry to see you stepping down, but I wish you the best in your next endeavor. I think you leave a big pair of shoes to fill. And I also want to thank Kitty for bringing me up to date on some local issues that are going on to, the Sewer District 6 issue that's coming on, it's on your agenda later tonight. I've read the information that's online. I was hoping to get some more information, but I know that our little sewer plant can't handle us. So I'm not really sure how it could possibly, I mean, I realize you could extend the district without letting any more users hook up, but that doesn't make any sense.
We're just sending it to the attorney tonight for them
Okay.
to review everything.
Okay,
We can't approve it, but anyone can petition.
okay.
So we have to go through the
The process. Okay, I just wanted to share my concerns about our little sewer plant, which I've had for, many years out there.
But what I will say is, by adding a new user, we get to charge a fee, which if we don't charge them the fee, the current users will pay.
Okay,
So it does save money. We're trying to also cut, this is a multi-million-dollar project, and we're trying to save some money for some of the local people, so they don't have to cover all the costs.
well, I thank you. Those are that's the sort of information that I couldn't see online, and I appreciate your insights for that information. One other thing, if we are changing the district boundaries, I know that can be very expensive. We have one non-district user. I think it would behoove us, if we are gonna change the district lines, to include that person. It will save them some money. They won't have to pay as much for their usage fees. I know we only have one in Sewer District 6, and there's about 20 in Sewer District 5, but if we're paying the money to change the boundaries and go through that process, I
Well,
think
the person who petitions pays, they have to create an escrow, they pay all the costs.
that we could mandate that non-district user become a district user, I believe.
Yeah, the attorney can ask that.
So, I just would throw that out there as a suggestion. Thank you.
It's fun.
Any other comments? If not, before we, just to make sure everyone is aware, I am resigning. And so tomorrow's my last day in the office, but Alex Bayer, my deputy supervisor who's here tonight, is going to be in charge and, signing documents and stuff until a new supervisor is appointed by the board. So, just so everyone knows, thank you for coming, Alex. And we've been meeting a lot lately, so, we're working on it. So, thank you.
Thank
And
Thank you,
And
Alex.
so I would like to, item number one on the agenda is the 2023 audit presentation by Cooper Arias. And I think I've made you, Mr. Arias, I've made you a co-host, so if you need to, you can share your screen.
Okay, so it should be up there now. Everyone can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thanks, Neil. I'm just going to go through the presentation for the town's December 31st, 23 audit. Obviously, there's a lot that goes on in an audit, but I'm just going to try to sort of hit some of the main points, some of the activity in the main operating funds of the town, and look at sort of what the financial position is at the end of the year. Just to go, I don't give presentations to this town every year, so I just want to remind everyone sort of what we do and what a government audit is. We obviously look at your financials, which is all the numbers and the note disclosures in your audit report. We have to assess your internal controls to determine reliance. So that means if you have good controls in place, we can rely on those controls. If you have bad controls or lack of controls, we then have to do more work to come to an opinion on your financial statements. We're trying to get to the same place, but it could take more work if you don't have controls in place. We do risk assessments and look at significant audit areas, so areas that have more risk and less risk, again, that determines how much work we do, and we look at your compliance with laws and regulations. These are all things required in a government audit. You are required to have a federal single audit if you spend over $750,000. Now you have to spend it in a year. It's not when you receive it, it's when you spend it. So when you're thinking about things like the ARPA money, regardless of when you received it, it doesn't get included until you actually spend it. And that would be a separate audit looking at compliance and controls over major federal programs. That was not required for the town in 2023. And when you look at the financial statements, that green book, the only thing in there that's from us is the opinion. Those are your financial statements. In the front, we give an opinion on the fair presentation of the financial statements. So what we're saying is if an outside user looks at them, would they be misled? The taxpayer is looking at the financial statements, a granting agency, the state controller, would they be misled by the numbers in those financial statements? When you're looking at the financial statements, again, it's a big book. There's a lot of pages in there. Just want to remind, several years ago, towns had GASB 84 came into effect. GASB 34 came into effect that had towns show what we call full accrual financial statements. So you now have fixed assets, depreciation. These are things you don't account for in your budget. So I like to sort of point to the pages when you're looking at this audit report, what you should be concentrating on. And the page numbers I'm listing there is really the reports that are important to the board. Those are modified accrual basis of accounting. So those funds are on the same basis that you're doing your budget on. Okay. It also shows your balance sheets by fund. It shows your budget to actual activity by fund individually, and it shows comparative statements. So you can look at this year to last year and budget to actual. That is very useful for your budget analysis and your fund balance management. What you'll see on the pages 11 through 13 is the full accrual financial statements. That includes everything the town has, including capital assets, depreciation, all your long-term debt, and also those actuarially calculated figures for pensions and retiree health insurance. So that sort of throws everything into one bucket. It's really not useful for budgeting or fund balance management. So just be aware when you're looking at it, if you're looking at those pages, you may say, wait a second, where did this number come from? It really has no reflection on your budget and your fund by fund activity. So try to sort of concentrate on the pages listed in the first bullet mark there, if you're trying to see how you did in relation to the budget. Real quickly, I don't want to get too much into this. This has to do with GASB 87 leases. It was implemented last year, changes the way we record leases, operating leases, where in the past you would just sort of pay a lease payment and it would be an expense. Now operating leases, we have to calculate the present value of future lease payments. So it's a whole calculation that goes in there. Installment purchase contract and leases of 1 year or less are not included in the standard. So we have to do a lot of calculations. You'll see items in there like a right to use asset. So if you're leasing something like office space, we have to order it as an asset called right to use, and we have to amortize it over the term of the lease. The real important thing is it really doesn't change anything in your budget or what you're doing, again, on the budget basis of accounting. Most of this stuff goes into those long-term financial statements on 11 to 13, so it really shouldn't affect your assessment. I just want to point it out. So if you see something in there called leases receivable or leases payable, or a right to use asset, which are terms you're not used to seeing, that's what this represents. Going into the town's activity, starting with the general A fund, which is the major operating fund for the town, the main operating fund. The total fund balance increased $1.14 million this year. And you had planned to actually decrease the fund balance by $384,000. So how you did that is you planned in the budget process to use $295,000. During the course of the year, you also plan to use $88,000 worth of reserves. So really, based on your activity, you would thinking the fund balance would go down $384. The fact that it increased showed you outperformed your budget by $1.52 million. So when you're looking at how you do to budget, you sort of want to look and try to see what areas caused us to be over budget or under budget that would cause us to outperform it. So the main items for the town, and these are things you look at year to year when you're looking at your budget, you want to see which items were online with the budget, which items sort of were way off budget. Your community preservation tax, that's not included in your budget. You got about $371,000 from that. Now that money all goes into a reserve, so it really doesn't affect your unassigned fund balance, which what the state controller looks at. But that is still included in your overall increase in fund balance. Your sales tax, you got a $113,000 payment this year for sales tax that had to do for an extra percentage you got on the 2022 sales tax. The town actually now records its sales tax revenue in the general B fund, not in the A, so there was no budget line. But because this was retroactive amount you received from 22, it went in the A fund. So that's money you weren't expecting, but you got in the A fund this year. Interest income, as we've seen in municipalities all over, way up. Interest income was $270,000 over budget. Obviously, because of the higher interest rate, the town uses New York class, so you get good interest rates on your money. And that's very important when towns get most of their money in the beginning of the year. When you levy taxes, you have a substantial amount of money. You want to make sure that it's invested at the best possible interest rate. As you pay it down over the course of the year, you can earn significant amounts of interest. Makes a big difference. Justice court revenues were about $118,000 over budget. Obviously, those can fluctuate from year to year. And some of the expense items that came in under budget, your retirement expenses were about $142,000 under budget, and your health insurance expenses came in $164,000 under budget. So those are kind of sort of some of the lines you can look at when you're doing the budget. You know, in the upcoming year, you're looking at your budget, determine whether, okay, was this a one-time thing, why we were under budget or over budget, or should the budget amount be adjusted going forward. Page 51 of the audit report, you can look down, you can see a breakdown of all the variances. These are the main ones, but if you look in the audit report on page 51, that shows all of the functional revenues and expenses and which ones were over and under budget. General B fund is for the town outside activity, all the activity outside of the village. Total fund balance increased $166,000. You had a planned decrease of $287,000 in that fund. So again, you outperformed your budget by $452,000. The two main items for that, sales tax was $144,000 over budget on the revenue side, and health insurance again was $109,000 under budget on the expense side. So those are the two main items. There obviously were other things that caused you to outperform the budget. On page 61, you can look for the breakdown again of all the variances. You can see a general B fund, and you can look through all your revenue and your expense items. And as a board, you can see which budget items were over or under budget, and use that as an analysis going forward on next year's budget. Your highway DB fund, which is again a highway fund for outside of the village, your total fund balance increased $269. You outperformed the budget $344, and that was just basic expenses that came in under budget. So basically, a lot of the road work that was budgeted came in just under budget, snow removal, things like that. Again, highway funds can fluctuate from year to year. A lot of it depends on the weather. A lot of it depends on fuel costs, things like that. So it can be a very volatile fund, the highway fund, from year to year. Some years you can go up, and some years you can go down significantly. Just have to sort of monitor that from year to year. Page 52 of the report breaks down the variances in the highway DB fund. Now, this is just a chart that shows you, it's sort of easier to look at if you want to look at your major operating funds. It tells you sort of the components of what's in your fund balance. So if you look at your general A, your general B, and your highway DB, it tells you how much you have in reserves, how much you've used towards next year's budget. So you look at that first appropriated column, that's sort of saying what the board is expecting fund balance to go down in 2024. you're using that in your budget, you're expecting a decrease. And the last three columns shows your percentage of your subsequent year's budget. That's usually the benchmark the state will look at when they're trying to determine fund balance levels. Obviously, all funds have different budget amounts, so obviously a fixed dollar amount wouldn't be relevant. What the state controller says is somewhere between 10 and 20% is a reasonable fund balance to have. It's not mandatory. It's not like a school district that statutorily has to be at 4%. It's really up to the town board is where they feel comfortable in their fund balances, how much you might have in reserves set aside, things like that in your fund balance. But it sort of gives you the trends over the last 3 years of what your fund balance percentages have been in terms of the subsequent year's budget. And again, I try to always point out when you're looking at these things, when you're determining how to manage fund balance, you really do want to look at trends. You want to increase gradually, decrease gradually. You don't want to see big spikes up and down in your fund balance. And this just shows just the trends over the last 5 years. There's your general A fund. So you can see it's been a pretty steady increase in your general A fund over the last several years. Now, again, a lot of that increase has to do with the increase in the reserves. You've been funding a lot of the reserves. And this is the highway DB and the general B funds. Again, pretty consistently increasing. The general B fund has been a little bit more level over the last several years after an increase. But there again, it shows your trends. So you want them to be fairly level. If you determine you want to sort of bring your fund balance down a little, that's fine, but you want to do it the same kind of gradual way as it increased. And this is some of your other fund balances. Here's your water, sewer, and fire protection. Again, you look at your how much is appropriated, how much is set up in reserves, and the assigned to unassigned column is sort of what you're looking at. Now, I would point out that when you're looking at those percentages, it's very common in water and sewer districts for those percentages sometimes to look a little bit skewed. For instance, if you look at sewer 5, where you have 104% of the subsequent year's budget, but it's really only $31,000 in your fund balance. And obviously, one sewer line break or a water line break, you can go through that very quickly. So really, as a board, when you're looking at your water and sewer funds, you really want to determine, how much do we feel comfortable having in fund balance if something goes wrong, to be able to have major repairs. As you can see, your water one and your sewer one, you have started capital reserves. So the board has started funding reserves. They moved some money that was just sitting in the unassigned fund balance, and they moved it over into restricted fund balance. And that's good to set aside for the future. If something goes wrong, you now have money set aside that you don't have to budget for a major unforeseen expense. You can just take it out of your reserve. And that's good planning going forward. I always sort of like to recommend those kinds of reserves. You do have them in your other funds too. And I see that you have reserves in your A fund, your B fund, and you use them this year. You purchase some items with your reserves. It makes it much easier to sort of keep your budget smooth from year to year doing it that way. So your water district 3 has the deficit. It has been addressed though over the last several years. That deficit was reduced $7,400 in 2023, and it was reduced $24,000 over the past 3 years. So that deficit has gone down 52% through the budget process. So over the next few years, hopefully you'll be able to eliminate that deficit in the water district 3 and then build up some fund balance in there. Monitor the fund balance in water district 4, which is obviously fairly low. Other fund balances have healthy fund balances. There's no statutory limit on the fund balance, as I mentioned earlier, but the state controller considers 10 to 20% as reasonable, as a reasonable fund balance. So you should just remember that. Capital project activity is presented by project. So if you look up page 83 and 84 of the audit report, you can sort of see the various projects the town has going broken down by project. In the capital projects, you have to account for everything by project. So some of them have borrowed debt. It has to be spent on that specific project, and it's funded by whichever fund is benefiting from the project. So a water district project has to be funded by that water district. A general fund or a highway fund has to be funded by those funds. So if you look at that page, you can sort of see what major projects the town currently has in progress. Just pointing out some of the things we look at during the course of an audit. We test activity in all of your major transaction classes. So we do look at your disbursements. We look at your receipts, your payroll, your procurement, and your water and sewer billings. So those are pretty much the main transaction classes in most municipalities, unless someone may not have a water and sewer billing area, but most of them, it's those top four are the main four we have to look at in every audit that we do. That's where the most transactions are going to go through, the most money will go through. And some of the things we test during the audit, we look at proper approvals for disbursements. We do this all basically on sample sizes we look at. Timesheets approved, whether the proper salaries are being paid. We trace to contracts on what the salaries should be, whether verbal or written quotes are being obtained when required, or bids are being received when required. So we do procurement testing, and we test various different thresholds to make sure that if there's verbal quotes required, you're doing that. If there's written quotes, you're doing that. Or if you need a formal bid, that's being done as needed. Second, review of bank reconciliations is a good internal control. We look to make sure that the person who's doing the bank rec, a second person looks at it and reviews it and signs off on it, making sure your postings to your general ledger are accurate. We also look at transactions in the tax collector, justice court, and your recreation department. We look at their activity, their receipts, their disbursements. Water sewer billings, we test a sample to make sure that the rate being charged is the correct rate in effect, and also that the usage matches what's being registered on the meters. And we looked at this proper support for adjusting journal entries. So adjusting journal entries, obviously, you can go in there and you can make an adjustment to the records without having to process a check or make a deposit. So it's really considered a risky area. So we are required to go in and take a sample of your adjusting journal entries and test them to make sure that all those significant adjusting journal entries have support and they are for a legitimate reason within the town. So going through our testing, we had no major internal control or compliance issues noted. There was a recommendation last year that we had put in the management letter that was addressed. So it was removed from the letter. Any minor issues that we come across, we do discuss verbally with the appropriate personnel, either the business office or the person at the town who's in charge of that department. And we will follow up on verbal comments. So if you have a verbal comment, we may not put it in the letter, but we'll test it again next year. And if it's the same problem, then it may move up to the level of being a written comment if we feel it's significant enough. You get an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. Basically, what that means is that all your reporting is in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. It's what we consider to be a clean audit. No findings in there, no findings on internal controls, compliance, or on your opinion. Everything is in accordance with GAAP. So overall, it was a clean audit. It went fairly smoothly. As you see from the fund balance, the town is in good financial position in all of certainly its major operating funds. So if anybody has any questions on anything in the audit or anything in this presentation, I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you.
Ms. G.
Thanks. I just want to make one comment. So the sales tax, the reason it was higher than we estimated is because several years ago, the towns have asked the county and the city of Kingston for an agreement that if the sales tax amount was greater than what they received in 2020, they would consider increasing the amount that went to the towns, right? And so, like right now, like the county gets like 80-something%. I think the city of Kingston gets like 11 or 12, and then all of the towns and villages get the last 3%. So if someone, and then the amount that the towns get is based on the assessed value. And so we get a percentage that based on the assessed values of the town outside of the village, and the village gets theirs. We don't know we can't budget for that increased amount because we don't know if we're going to get it, or if the sales tax for that year is going to be above what it was in 2020. And then it's also based on whether the county legislature approves that. And so we have to budget what we think we're going to get. And then we're very lucky, sales tax is higher, and the county ledge has been very generous with the towns. So we get like a free bonus. That's what's happened the last 2 years. But there's no guarantee that's going to happen. So don't budget for what you think may happen. Budget for what, is a safe amount. And then if you get extra, that's it. And then the reason we have extra in some of these others is because we decided years ago to basically start savings accounts. So instead of having to come up with $250,000 for a truck when it breaks, we have we budget, you know, 10, 15, $20,000 a year and put it away. So, we're saving for these things. But then when you look at just the whole overall thing, it's like, wow, they have a lot of money. It's like, well, no, that's in a reserve fund. So that's just so everyone knows that. And that, I think, based on good advice from the auditors and Gene, so. That's all I have.
Just real quickly, I'd like to say about the sales tax. Sales tax and mortgage tax really fall into that same category in terms of you don't want to get carried away in budgeting those items because obviously they can be a lot less than you think if you have a bad year. So you sort of want to be conservative. Mortgage tax is one when we had great years and the mortgage tax were going high, you didn't want to go crazy and then budget a high mortgage tax. And then when everything goes bad, you have a very low mortgage tax. And same thing with sales tax. So, you know, most towns, it's pretty consistent that they are conservative in how they budget sales tax and mortgage tax. You're trying to get it fairly close, but normally we see those numbers outperforming the budget. Very rarely do we see budgets of amounts that are so high that they come in under on those two lines.
I didn't get to see this document. I've looked at the 88 pages of your report, and a lot of it is, you know, full of graphs and charts and numbers and good advice. But I didn't see this synopsis in the document that you sent us. Could you provide us with that?
I have it, Kitty.
Oh, okay.
I sent it, I thought it was going.
Okay, I didn't get
I'll
that.
send it to you in the morning.
Okay.
Okay.
Jean, as usual, is on top of it. One thing that I noticed was that, you said the town provides following basic services: police, fire, road, snow, justice, assessor, permits, dog control, lots and lots of things. You didn't mention our emergency ambulance services, which was a big increase coming up. But you didn't, mention.
I have to look and see the word that's probably included under, I'll have to check and see. It's usually included under health. Is there health mentioned there? Let me look and see.
And it was not a significant, budget item for the years that you're looking at, as it's going to be in the future. So, I just wanted to, you know, have that. I think actually, despite your caveat, I think this is actually going to be very helpful for people who are new to the budget like me. As we look at the one that's going to be prepared for next year, because there's a lot of comparison stuff in ways that are easily digestible. But, you know, if ambulance services are in there, maybe they're in health or wellness somewhere, that would be good.
Yeah, no, I am looking. I don't see the mention of the ambulance services specifically, but we could throw that in there. That's just a sort of a general. It's obviously not all inclusive, you know.
Okay.
We certainly could throw that in there. It's just sort of a list of some of the major services that the town provides. But that's not a problem. That could be added into the report.
A lot of data in here, and it's going to be very helpful. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments, questions? If not, thank you for giving the presentation. And
Okay.
thank you for doing the audit.
All right, thank you. And if anybody ever has any questions, certainly you can email me directly or through Gene. I'll be more than happy to, you know, clear up anything when you're looking through that big audit report, which sometimes can be a little much. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't, like you said, the state comptroller does not have specific regulations about fund balance, but the town has a policy that we adopted maybe 5 years ago, where we want to keep it, I think, between 10 and 20, right? Is that, or is it 15 we shoot for?
I'm looking at a town hall.
Yeah.
I'm saving.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
And so, item number 2, interview potential recreation director Joanna Dempsey, and welcome. And I just want to let you know that if you would prefer, we can interview in executive session. So if you want to do it privately, we can do it, or we can do it here in public. It's your choice. The interviewer gets to decide, interviewee gets to decide.
Well, they've all been in public up to now.
Yeah, but they get to decide.
We haven't actually offered that. With them.
Yes, we have. We when
No.
we interviewed the community wellness person in private. And
Yes,
so,
but I don't recall doing it. If you'd like to be in private, that's fine, but I believe all of our other recreation director interviews have been here at this table, as has the ZBA. So, but it's up to you.
well, ZBA is different, because that's not a job, but if you're interviewing someone for a job, they are allowed to request, and so I'm just making sure you know.
Okay, I can do it right now, it's fine. I mean, the others had to. Do I,
You
stand
just,
or?
go ahead, come up, so-
Okay, okay. It's not a TV, but the others had to do the same, so it will be fair to the others. Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for all your service, Neil. We have been so lucky to have you all these years.
And so thank you for applying. I'll let you introduce yourself and people can ask you questions and
Okay, my name is Joanna Dempsey and, I moved to New Paltz about 12 years ago, from Rhinebeck. My husband teaches at the university here, SUNY New Paltz. And I came with a 4-month-old baby. And my first experience here was going to the play space at the community center. I was very isolated in Rhinebeck, and that's where I met my first friends. And it was just wonderful to have that community center to meet and for our kids to play and to relax. And I think that was just a wonderful thing. And then the seniors would come for their lunch and there'd be intermingling of different generations. And then since I live in proximity to the center, it's just been kind of an extension of my life. We've had many birthdays for my sons there through the years, and I'm on the board at the condominium complex next door, and we have our meetings there. And I've had many conversations with Chuck, kind of fantasizing about what to do with the old town hall space. You know, maybe pickleball courts. He was always asking me, you know, what should we do? What do your friends want to do? And so I've always been kind of thinking about that space and a testament to the wonderful community we live in. At one point, I thought we should have a community compost. And I just put the word out there and the whole community just got together, and I hardly had to do anything, but the climate action group took action, and then the middle school climate club took action, and we got an artist from the high school, and it just blossomed into this beautiful project. So I love that the community atmosphere in New Paltz. And as far as my vision, I think the calendar can use, it's good to show that there's a lot happening, which is great, and all the diversity of activities. But as a graphic designer, I want to get at it. Because I think if we can show immediately the blank spots in the camp, because I know some of those things are in the community room, the smaller room. So there are a lot of times that are open, but when you look at it, it's not obvious. So I'd love to get at it and make it color coded or shaded, because I know it's printed out. But so it's immediately visible that there are openings, so that if people have ideas, and maybe put a display when you walk in, like, do you have any ideas for different programming? People might have talents, and we want to welcome that so that we encourage new programs. I want to bring the play space back, and there's probably a lot of kids, mothers, lonely mothers, you know, that we want to bring back out. They might not have known that ever existed.
I didn't know it was gone. That's horrible.
It's not on the calendar yet. There's an opening on Friday. And then the lobby, having historical displays, like we have this rich history, and the mural is beautiful, but there's a kind of a community center in Stone Ridge that I've been to, and they have these beautiful historical presentations. I know we have
the library. I'm sure I can make copies of beautiful pictures from our past to show. And the preserves, Wallkill Valley Land Trust, you know, the Millbrook Preserve and Nyquist, we could have presentations about those incredible places. So when you walk in, you can learn about those places. So I'm filled with ideas. And the drawing, like drawing sessions there, like I could talk with the people at Roost, I know they have a session there, and maybe bring a drawing session with kids and adults, like a life drawing, but you know, costumes, people. I know my boys would love that and make it intergenerational. It'd be really, really cool. Yeah, cooking demos. I know the kitchen looks a little bit small. I'm not sure if that's feasible, but, and then I also would love to tackle just the entrance, you know, get it weeded out. You know, spruce it up a little bit, add some flowers, make it welcoming. And then as far as the field of dreams, I'm not allowing you to ask questions. But I have a really great relationship with Matt Pellick. My kids have been doing recreational soccer since they were little tykes. And our kids, Matt Pellick's kids, have grown up with my kids. So I have a really good working relationship with him already. And is this position, am I kind of the liaison between the maintenance crew and the people in charge of the sports activities? How does that work for this position? Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions?
So like the example I've used in the past is, you know, they know they're gonna be having a tournament on Saturday. You know, they would want to make sure that, okay, well, can you, instead of mowing the fields on Monday, could you try to mow them later on in the week so the fields are in the best condition? So things like that.
Yeah, communication, yeah.
Yes. But, you know, between the users and the
Right,
highway department.
keep a good calendar and.
So my understanding of the relationship between you and the Field of Dreams is that you basically are doing scheduling. I don't think you're expected to be there. Right?
No.
You visit a fair bit too.
Take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah,
But you're not-
to make sure that the fields are ready, see what needs are, see, whether there's signage, things need to be changed up for some reason. Or, I would imagine to prepare for some events.
Often meet with you know, you would be meeting with the people that run the soccer leagues or the baseball leagues and making sure that, you know, everything's set for them. And so I think it's you know, you do go, you're not there, you're not mowing it, but you need to be the person that knows everything that's going on up there.
Right. I'm already there twice a week and it's such a beautiful place. I mean, it's a stunning place. It won't be an issue going there a lot.
So what do we, think of as the hours that are expected of the recreation director? Where and when?
Well, it's a full-time job. So, you know, I think it depends on what needs to be done. So there are times like during the day, Chuck would have to go up to the Field of Dreams and meet with someone, but you don't have a set schedule where you're at the Field of Dreams from 9 to 10. You know, it's fairly flexible. It's what needs to be done.
So as a salaried position, it's just to be there.
It's hourly, it's not salary. So you're working 40 hours a week. It's, you know,
It is, I saw it as salaried, but.
is it
yeah,
salary?
It's an annual.
Okay. So you're expected to, you know, in the past, you know, there would be times when, you might have to do something. I think we're hoping that there's some interaction with the youth center and the community wellness and help with the organizing for like holiday hoopla and maybe set things up. So it's not just at the community center. It's sometimes you have to go up to the Field of Dreams on a Saturday, or sometimes, you know, so there's some flexibility, but there are no set hours. It really depends on what needs to be done.
What needs, yeah. Yeah, and Phoenix has an office there, right?
Yes.
So I can communicate with them. Yeah. My kids are at that age where they or my oldest one goes to the youth center. He's at that age, so.
So I've been asking all of the applicants the same questions. And so what is your understanding of this town rec director's role?
To keep the schedule, to encourage new programs, to make sure that all the maintenance is done on the Field of Dreams, dog park. Just to be present, I remember when I was there and Chuck would be in the office and I'd go in and ask him questions. So just to be present, if people need help, I'll make sure the community center looks tidy and make sure the schedules aren't getting messed up.
And do you know, we've been talking about, but do you know which properties now we're talking about?
So it's community center, Field of Dreams, dog park. And are there any others?
I think that comes under, yeah. So you're definitely familiar with the community center and you've seen the calendar, so you've already had some thoughts about, you've already told us that. And you're familiar with the Field of Dreams and how it's used. And besides just the sports programs, there can be events there, people can has to use it for personal, private things, so.
Yeah, that pavilion with the benches, there's so much potential there for to be used during the summer.
And did you see the job description?
Yes.
Okay, are you comfortable with the duties and responsibilities? And this job description is very general and doesn't it says you take care of the cool stuff, you don't, but the things that are in there, is there anything in there that you felt like, well, I don't do that, or I didn't expect to do that, or?
No, I'm comfortable with everything. I'm very computer literate. I think there's the civil servant exam that I take. Do you know about that? I mean,
Is it a
that
civil
can be
service
discussed
position?
later, but.
It's a
It is a civil service position, there will be an exam.
Okay.
So until they offer the exam, which depends on when they're gonna offer it, it's, you're provisional, and then they offer the exam, and you have to take it, and you have to do fairly well.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm.
Okay. So, so this program also, it sort of involves managing programs, it involves budget
Mhm.
and managing a budget and keeping records. You might have someone reporting to you, there may be staff. So do you have examples of when you've done something like that in the past?
Well, I've done my own family budget.
Okay.
And I know so many computer programs, being a graphic designer, so I'm very used to using a computer in many different ways, so I'm confident that I can do a budget.
And obviously you have to deal with the public.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, living in the Village Arms is very similar. It's kind of like a community. I get along with everyone. I'm a very non-controversial resident there, so I'm on the board, so.
Right.
I'm very public person there.
You might want to be presenting to the town board in public, like this, about a new program or a new thing you want to try. So
Yeah.
you have to be ready to prepare that and do it.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Well, our rec committee seems to have kind of, been waiting for a new rec director, so.
Okay.
Would you be, willing to get started recruiting, going back to some of those people and
Yeah,
because you're going to need volunteers.
yeah, absolutely. That'd
So-
be great. I didn't even know about this.
Well,
recommendation.
they're on the website, but, I think they've just been waiting, Chuck left in December so that would be kind of an important first thing to do is check back in with those people and,
Yeah,
put out a call to see if other people want to join.
yeah, that'd be great. I didn't know about that. That's great. And is Chuck, is he willing to answer questions that come up?
I'm not gonna speak for Chuck, I'm sure he
If
does.
he's watching. Yeah, he's very nice.
We did ask all the other candidates to provide us names of 3 references with their contact information, so we'd ask you to send that into.
Okay.
Well, she did. And
I
one
can-
of them is sitting
I
right here.
can give you another one. Might be. I can provide.
Yeah, I didn't think I would be interviewing, well, I didn't think I would still be here when she was interviewing.
Okay. So, anyway, one of your named references is sitting at this table
Yes.
and, you know, so I think
I
that's,
can provide another
Yeah,
one,
and- I don't think it's a problem, actually.
No, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Anything else you want to?
I would, maybe I'll just, the things, you have some remote work that you're currently working on, including freelance design, right?
No,
No.
I'm not really,
Okay.
you know, one little project for a
Oh,
friend,
okay.
but.
Yeah, you've been doing that one for a long time.
Oh, yeah, that's, not currently though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It just said present, so
Yeah, I forgot to update that.
that's okay.
Yeah,
And are you working for the chronic? I don't know if I should say, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I'm sorry, I didn't update that.
What, yeah, so you're currently, you know, in between jobs or?
Yeah, I work for a solar company now, but it's, the hours are hard with family life.
Yeah.
It's, evenings and weekends.
You wouldn't do
So-
that anymore.
Yeah. no,
Okay. All right, you came to my house.
I did.
I hope
Remember.
so, there's some solar.
My dogs were very, not nice.
Your dogs are cute.
Very lucky. Very good. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thanks for
Thank
bringing
you.
it up.
Appreciate your coming.
And so, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters of personnel.
Second, Julie.
And we may be asking you guys to come in a few minutes, but I have other stuff to discuss first. All in favor?
Aye. Just when you throw the refreshments.
Yeah. Seems busy. Always worked on something. Happy I kind of got the deals in with the county. Yeah. It took a while. 2 years. Yeah. You have any patience with that stuff, you do. Follow up with that, and Steve gets a lot of grief, Steve Kirk, but Steve's awesome. At working with him, he was super
The rest of them should go.
Like to make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second. Kitty?
All in favor?
Aye.
And, can I meet with the two of you tomorrow at some point? Okay, I'll come by and. You know, so. And
We had the motion. It was about the rec director, right? So because of checking references, we're going to be,
thought we were gonna.
oh, we are. Go ahead. What is, I do remember. Okay. But this has been a process.
Okay.
So I'd like to, sorry, make a motion to hire rec director Joanna Dempsey.
Do we need a salary, Gene? Or is it
There is a
based on
salary.
the salary?
56,160.
56,160.
At the rate of 56,160. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. All right. Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, but change the approval of the minutes based on modifications that Amanda will let Rosanna know, or one of the resolutions that we made.
It's a type of thing.
Fix the typo.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to, for the hiring of Lanazia Dorsey as a part-time police officer effective May 6th, 2024, at the rate outlined in the collective bargaining agreement.
Second, Julie?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'd like to make a motion to approve the hiring of. Wait, no, that's-
Oh my God, I think for,
yes, for the deputy assessor?
oh, no, not
Yeah.
that. Um,
Oh, wait, no, I have that written down twice. So, in my notes here. So I'd like to, make a motion to authorize the approval to submit the creation of a new position of deputy assessor to the county assessor's office. So we're creating a new position. We're asking them if we can do that.
We're sending the creation to the county. It's
Yes.
not a county, it's
it's
here.
not a
in
county
Newcastle.
job.
Yeah.
Yes, no, but they have to
Right.
approve
Got
the job description.
Okay.
And is this person deputy to who?
The town.
Diane.
Diane,
Oh,
Diane,
okay,
yeah,
okay. And so this is a new position.
yes.
but she's sort of been acting in that position, right?
Yes.
And now she needs her
Gonna get
own
done, done.
assistant.
Okay, very good.
Second for, yeah, Julie.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 7 is motion to authorize the approval of the following people as 2024 Memorial Pool staff at their assigned rates for the 2024 pool season. From May 19th to September 7th, 2024.
Second, Julie.
Any discussion?
Just that we were praising the excellent lifeguards that New Paltz has been enjoying for so many years in the meeting. So thank you, families, for raising such wonderful kids that save lives.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion to authorize the approval of spending down of the ARPA funds in 2024. So just so everyone's aware, time is running out on these funds. We need to designate where they're going to be spent, and they need to be spent by the end of next year, or we lose the money.
As we contracted and encumbered by the end of this year.
Yes, they need to be, and these are for, you can see the list for, different maintenance facilities and things like that.
So are these already done though? It says-
No, these are to get them.
To get done. Okay, because it says past tense as if it was done. Okay. And these are things we'd already identified as.
Working with, Chris had identified some stuff, and Chuck, and this had been a priority for this, one of them is to finish the bathrooms. We've applied for grants. This was the rec committee recommendation, but then we went through the process of getting the permits and designing, and then, we decided to do the playground first, because they wanted to have a playground at Field of Dreams, because so many people are using it. And so that got pushed back a year, so this would help with that.
So don't you wanna just upgrades to recycle, so it's the recycle center?
Help with the composting,
Okay.
things like that.
Okay,
So, because as you saw that letter, like,
Yeah.
it's, we're doing a lot of stuff up
yeah,
there.
very cool, very good, okay.
All in
Somebody-
favor?
Yes.
Aye. And number 9 is, motion to authorize the approval of the agreement between the town of New Paltz and Whispering Pines, allowing Whispering Pines to store equipment and material for the Henry W. Du Bois Bike Project at Veterans Drive, the Old Town Hall site. They will be responsible for fencing, site security, dust control, complying with the town's noise ordinance from 7 AM to 6 PM. There will also be a grace period for reclaiming the area if needed due to weather conditions. So the background for this is we're moving forward on Henry W. The motion to proceed has been issued. They're gonna be starting construction soon, hopefully done by November, Thanksgiving, hopefully before then. But they need a place to like park their cars in the morning and then pick up their trucks and then start work on Henry W. And then at the end of the day, bring their trucks back and get their cars and leave and do this. They're not doing construction there, but they need a place to stage everything, and it needs to be nearby. We also wanna make this, time is very tight for this project. It was supposed to start earlier, been held up because of approvals. But, if it goes too late, they can't pave in the winter. So we want to make it easy for them to get this work done. But it's moving forward. Hopefully they're starting soon.
So, I would like them not to start until 8 o'clock, just out of consideration to the village. Joanna isn't here anymore.
But they're not starting there. Like
But
they're just
they're
parking
gonna
their
be-
cars.
Right, but they're gonna be getting stuff going,
And
loading
big
up their
equipment.
trucks and all the equipment and, when we were doing construction next to the pool before, the neighbors really had a hard time. Well, so I would like to change this from 8
My,
AM.
my worry is if they have shorter work days
Yeah.
and they can't get it all done, the project will get delayed until the spring.
But they could go from 8 AM to 7 PM. I think it's that early morning.
Well, traffic gets really bad at 4 or 5. So they want to be done before the traffic goes.
But this is 7 to 6.
There was also a stipulation from DOT when they start working on the job site
Yeah.
and when they end the job site. I only said 7 to 6, it's before 6. 7, half the people have moved out and are moving over to our facility anyway, when they used to park their cars in the winter.
Well, I mean, let's see what the neighbors say, but,
We can't delay this.
I'm not saying delay it.
No,
But if the entire Village Arms, is that
That's
was,
funny.
says this is destroying our quality of life for our entire summer, then I think we'll have to review this.
if,
So
yes,
I'm fine with,
okay.
Well, is
But
this
keep
only
an
on
open mind.
weekdays?
pardon?
It's on weekdays,
Only
yeah.
weekdays, so
Yeah.
at least not the weekend.
But the summer is when your
Yeah.
kids are home and everybody sleeps in. It's not like they have to get up to school.
But it's
I-
just vehicles moving, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not very
My
noisy.
worry is, right,
It's
if
trucks
the
and-
project, if they can't get it done, because we're limiting the hours that they can work, and it gets pushed back till the spring, because we said they can only work a certain number of hours, it's
I'm
gonna,
not changing the number of hours. I'm
Yeah,
changing
but
the
they're-
timing of the hours.
I don't think we can make people work till 7. That's not a
I
normal
don't think we can ask
workday.
everybody in
Not
the
to mention, it sounds
complex
like
to be
Chris
ready
says,
for construction
they
at
can't-
7.
if they can't finish by November, DOT will not let them work over the winter and pave. And then the costs will go up, because you'll be paying higher rates for the tar next year and higher rates. So it could cost the town a lot of money, because we would have to cover those extra costs. That's my worry.
I don't know how to say this another way. I'm not saying fewer hours, I'm just saying different hours. We're talking about a 11-hour day
But
here.
the town, the
I give
town,
up, I
but
give up.
I'm just saying, town and village code construction starts at 7 AM.
And we've had a lot of pushback on that, especially in the summer. When,
Maybe we should look at the code then.
okay,
No, what I would like to just make sure is they only park on the paved areas, not the green.
I'm sorry,
They only park on paved areas?
that was the plan.
I mean, so they know that.
Right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
reluctant by,
You can say no.
no, not the vote, no, I'm just thinking of the community center and all that stuff. This is
Well,
gonna change.
It's down at the,
But when this project's done, believe me, these people are gonna, everyone's gonna be happy because they're gonna be able to walk from the community center all the way to New York City.
Well, I guess that
How much fun
softens
is
it.
it?
Well, that's Cortland Park. And so, number 10 is motion. I would like to make a motion to authorize the approval of resolution authorizing the town board of the town of New Paltz, Ulster County, New York, to expand up to expend $26,400 from the town's building and grounds truck reserve fund to pay for the acquisition of a maintenance truck, $44,302.78 for the town's highway reserve fund for the acquisition of a maintenance truck, and $9,200 for the police, from the police department vehicle reserve fund for a police vehicle.
That's a deal on it.
So this is the famous reserve funds that
Yeah,
our
so these-
auditor was talking about. right?
Yes.
The money's already there.
Yes,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
So request authorization to modify the 2024 budget, for the listed changes.
I'm sorry, what's-
Includes the new task force
Yes,
email.
so this is
Thank
to
you.
cover the cost for the task force email, things like that.
I forgot what CE stands for. E? What does CE stand for?
Contractual expense.
Aha. Thank you.
Have a second?
Second, Amanda?
All in favor?
Aye.
So the motion to, so number 12 is, we can't authorize the approval of the petition, but we can start the process. Once we get a petition, we then, the board authorizes sending it to the town's attorney, and engineers to review. And so that's the.
This is for the sewer,
This is for, this is to, we received a petition
yeah.
to expand the sewer 6 district. And so the motion is to accept the petition and send it to the town's attorney and engineers for review.
I just happened to have a conversation with Kate Hines, who is on the board of the Margaret Wade Lewis Center. There is a historic house in North Ohioville somewhere. And that she's interested in getting designated with our Historic Preservation Commission. So I just wanted to make sure that we're not I don't know where it is. We didn't have enough time for that conversation. So I would just like this contract to just identify, to talk to Kate Himes and our Historic Preservation Commission about where that historic.
Well,
house
so,
is.
well, I mean, the way it works is anyone, like, people who own a property, they can petition and they submit a letter of request to the town, and then we accept that letter and start the process. And like, they're paying for the process. It doesn't involve like adding other ones, or it doesn't affect other properties. It's,
But does it signal an intent to say yes?
to start the process of the review.
And who reviews it? Us,
The
planning board,
attorney and the engineer to,
and the Historic Preservation Commission?
What do you think in this property where they're proposing this building?
I don't know. I mean, this is one of those coincidental.
Matt, you wanna say
things.
anything?
So,
Hi, Kate. The property is owned by me and my business partner. So it's just a vacant piece of land. We're in front of the planning board, the town of New Paltz Planning Board right now, trying to get a building approved that we would like to build there. And so we're right on the edge of the existing sewer district. And we're trying to figure out how to handle, we're not gonna create a ton of sewage, it's gonna be like a flex type of building, like a warehouse type building that will have maybe contractors in there or sculptors or, local light manufacturing or an internet company or whatever. So we're.
No food prep, right?
No food prep. That's true. And so what we did is we were trying to figure out the project ourselves in front of the planning board. And Ted Nitza, who's your consultant, reached out to us and said he would suggest that we join the sewer district since we're right on the edge of it, because they're trying to get enough members into that sewer district to actually make it, I guess, financially viable. It's like tough because there's so few parcels. And we all understand that there's issues with the current sewer plant there. But there have been studies done and plans underway to eventually connect those parcels into the village system, which is an ongoing process. But what we did is we worked with Mr. Nitza, and he reviewed the capacity of the sewer plant and how much is actually being produced. And we were asking for 3,000 gallons a day. I talked to Chris about it too. And he said that that was too much, but that there was
1,500.
3,000, that was what we wanted. And they said there's 1,500 currently available. Of course, once it gets connected into the larger system, we can always come back to the planning board and ask for more capacity. But for now, there's 1,500 not 50,000.
1,500 available at
To
the
us.
existing site, or is that when you connect to the village?
No, there's 1,500 available now, and, but if we wanted, what we're going to the planning board with is saying, we'll make it work with the 1,500, we won't exceed that, and we'll be bound to that. And we'll make sure that the uses that we put in the building don't exceed that. And then if eventually there is more capacity, then we'll have to go to the planning board again and get our authorization changed to allow more if we want to have uses that, like food prep or something. But right now, we won't do that because we have this limited amount of capacity. But so our process is twofold. We have to, as part of the whole site plan review with the planning board, we got to get the whole project approved. We're pretty far along in that. And they have to authorize that use, but we can't even connect in because our parcel, even though it borders the existing sewer 6, we're just outside it. So we were advised by Joe Moriello that the way that that's done is you make a petition to the town board, they review it, and then that parcel gets included into the sewer district, and then we can complete our review with the planning board to actually get authorized.
So you worried that there's a historic house that would not have sufficient capacity for its?
No, I just don't want it to be adjacent to an historic house that had, if you would, I'll put you in touch with Kate and John Orcatelli.
You know where she is on North Ohio?
She's not there. She is one of the sort of amateur town historians
Right.
who helped set up the Margaret Wade Lewis Center in the
The
village.
alternative is a septic system there. in a-
Right, I mean, it wouldn't impact we're in the industrial zone and we're like,
I
the
just
only
don't know
3
where this
houses that are
house
nearby
is.
are like new houses and we're like, there's an old collapsed farmhouse there that
That
we're,
could be it.
no, it's,
Okay.
if you want to preserve that, I don't think anyone wants to.
I don't
preserve
know, but it is an important house.
it. But I
And
don't see
I'll,
that this
I'll
would.
put, you
impact.
guys can talk, we'll
Sure.
identify where the house is. And it doesn't sound like it's adjacent to your new sewer system.
Can I give you a card so you can put us in touch?
Sure.
Is that allowed? All right, cool.
Not at all.
I'm happy to talk to her about any of her concerns or
Great.
whatever. We're gonna screen the whole thing with trees and all that.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. So we're just going through, basically, we're going through the process here so we can get included in the district, so we can go to the planning board and actually get our
Well,
project.
Goodness
If it's
knows.
been identified, it should show up on the EAF, so
It did.
it would if it's been identified.
Uh,
It should be.
I don't think it's been designated at all. It's just but there was I think he was a blacksmith in Ohio.
Okay.
Anybody remember? Anyway, a bit of history that maybe this will spark us to learn more about.
I'd be curious to.
Motion to start the process of sending it to Joe and the attorney and
Yeah.
Second, Amanda?
all in favor?
Aye.
So now, 13 is motion to authorize the approval of replacing and installing a new power board for the VFD at the Memorial Pool. This includes a new power board, shipping, labor, et cetera.
Wait. Is it 5,000 or is it 4,000?
I think it's 5,000,
Oh,
labor and
the other
everything else.
stuff, and- Okay, gotcha. That all equals part. Okay,
Second,
second, Amanda,
all in favor?
Aye.
now do the next one.
Next one, motion to authorize the approval of replacing the VFD at Moriello Pool.
So this is a Band-Aid. The first
No,
one,
this is, I think we're buying it and then we're replacing. I don't know why there's two resolutions either.
oh, it says it's a power board for the.
Oh,
existing one.
yeah, it's the power board and one is the power board, one is the
Thing
VFD.
itself,
So there's
okay.
two different things.
Great. Second, Amanda,
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 15, we're gonna table that one for right now. And, number 16,
that's actually, that was a mistake.
oh, no, so there is no presentation.
No, we're gonna do that when we do the,
Okay, so we'll table that. So then the rest of the items were added since the original agenda. So motion to authorize the approval of an agreement with SunCommon to perform a formal assessment for solar panels at the Police Department Justice Court with payment in the amount of $5,000. And just so everyone is aware of this, we did receive grant money and this can be deducted from that grant. Okay, so, but this will help us figure out if we can pull it off. And so Amanda's taking the lead on this, so.
I second that, and what I'd like to add is that this Clean Energy Community Grant that we got, this program is now about to be eliminated. And so the request is for municipalities and other officials to send a memo to the PSC, the Public Service Commission, because they're proposing to take this whole program and put it into climate smart communities where the grants are much harder to get, have matches and all that. So we would like to see this program continue. It's been a boom to New Paltz and any other towns that get them. So can we can either ask you to do it, or we can, as a town board, we can draft one and send it from the town.
Yeah, you guys can draft one.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And motion to authorize approval for going out to auction for the following items: sale of a Skag mower from the Building and Grounds Department, a hook lift from the Highway Department, and the old phone system from Town Hall.
Really?
Top dollar.
Yeah,
Just throw that in.
pennies, it's worth something, better than throwing them away. That's kind of the,
Well, recycle, yeah, we can recycle. Okay, so second, Amanda?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And so number C is a motion to authorize paying CDE Electric Pay, application number 9, the amount of $42,950.67 for the phase 3 backup water supply. So this is the DEP funding project. This is just paying the bills.
Second, Amanda?
All in favor?
Aye.
And so this next one is motion to authorize approving the engagement letter with Munistat Advisory Services to provide services for securing bans on behalf of the town of New Paltz. So these are the people that help us figure out how to borrow money.
We just use them all the time, or they the standard
We
one?
use these before, is this a new? Yeah, we use this one.
Yes, we do.
Yes, they help with get this building taken down. So,
What
second,
building it is?
Amanda, second?
all in favor?
Aye.
And so number E is motion to authorize the agreement between Town of New Paltz and Munistat Advisory Services to provide services required by the SEC,
We should have to do that.
Yeah.
Security Exchange Commission.
Second, Kitty.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the last one, F, is the, oh wait, consultant. Oh, yeah. Motion to authorize the approval of upgrades at the community center for both phone and internet. I don't know if people have questions about them.
I do have an outstanding email to them. I just don't know how many phones we have there, what offices they go to, how many phone numbers.
Okay,
we have.
three phones,
What's the cost?
3 lines.
3 lines.
Yes, 3 lines.
And they are for which offices?
Director, Phoenix, and Rec Aid.
Well, I'd just like to have him break it down for us. It just $12,000 for 3 telephones, Seems like
And the
a lot of money.
lines.
It's the lines that,
So
I
the
know.
guy came in and looked at all of the boxes and the wires that are in the
Oh, I
director's
saw the
office right
pictures.
now
Yeah.
and said it's not working. It
Yeah.
needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
We need a new router.
Yeah, there's more, it's
I don't
routers and
understand.
systems.
I don't understand why it needs to be that complicated. And it just, I mean, 3 telephones, $12,000.
There's licenses too.
Hmm?
There's
It's all
licenses,
about hard wiring and
but it's, he said that didn't include the wiring, that whole wiring job was gonna be. separate
Yeah,
out, so it need to be separately quoted.
I'd just like to table this for,
Okay.
I mean, the phones did answer today, you
Okay,
know.
so I
mean,
think there's,
called them
there's
and-
gonna be a special meeting, and so it's not gonna be 2 weeks before
Right,
this. And so, the last one is, wanted to vote on the consultant for the consolidation.
right.
And the village has made their recommendation. And I think they're asking if we have a preference between the two different consulting firms.
Mhm.
And, people have any thoughts on them? They read the different proposals.
All right, we attended the video interviews, we wrote the proposals. There are 2 strong proposals, but I'm gonna make the motion that we hire the LaBerge Corporation. Second.
Which is the same as the village recommended.
Yes.
And obviously, the proposal was more of a discussion. There'll be an actual contract that has
Yes,
really nitty
yes.
gritty details.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think that's it. Motion to adjourn?
Wait, can we say something?
Yeah.
Neil.
Neil.
Forgot, yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's, thank you, everyone, for letting me serve. I appreciate it. It's, I think we've gotten a lot done, and, I think we have, I'm not going anywhere, so I'll be around.
that's true, you might be in that part of the room.
Yeah, well, I'll
He's gonna be
be,
right up here presenting to us.
I'll be
Oh,
talking
that's
to you and the supervisors about things that you can do, so. And,
You know, I found a picture of you at the caucus, remember the days we had caucuses?
Okay.
And I have to say, I think you and Obama were elected in the same year.
Yeah.
And you have aged far better. Anyway, you've done a great job.
Let's hear for you.
I'm blushing just like I did when they threw a surprise party for me.
Oh,
But thank you, and, motion to adjourn.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone.
Aye.
Questions?
Yeah.